What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are doing another collection update, but it is going to be a little bit different than my previous ones. I want to start doing a weekly video or a weekly update where I grab one or two items out of my collection or off the shelf and do a deep dive into them for you guys. I want to show you guys the boxes, the condition, all of its contents inside, the overall completeness of it, and maybe do a deep dive into a console variation so you guys know how rare or how common these items are specifically. So in today's video, we are going to go grab two items that coincide with each other very well, and I will tell you guys what two items that is right now. All right, you guys, please excuse the work, get up, and the bibs. I got off work early today. There's a little bit of daylight left, so I figured I would try to make a video. Winter time is really hard to make videos just because the natural light from the sun dwindles, or it's overcast, or it's snowy, or there's an inversion, and so the natural light just never really hits all that well to begin with. So A, I apologize for the outfit, and two, I apologize if the lighting is poor. However, when we bring everything over the table, I'll make sure to light it from above, and we will be good to go. So first item I want to show off today is my Watermelon Blister. So this guy you would find at a Toys R Us, a Walmart, a Kmart, and essentially it was just a special Funtastic controller that never came in a traditional box like the original colors did. These only came in blisters. So you would have the blue, you would have the green, you would have, what other colors are there in Funtastic? Oh, like the ice blue. You would have the jungle green, watermelon, there's a grape purple or purple grape, one of those. I'll make sure to post pictures or links so that way you guys know the full list. I don't even know the full list. I know there's like a dark blue, a light blue, a dark purple, watermelon, and so I kind of get confused with the names. Maybe I'm not a true collector or true fan. I just know they're out there. I've seen them and I know they're very expensive. So we are going to check this guy out. I'll put it over here at the table so we can eventually mosey on over there and check it out. Second item I wanted to do today was my Watermelon Funtastic series Nintendo 64. That is CIB. And obviously, since they're both the Watermelon edition, I figured it was a good idea to do them simultaneously just because they go so well together. Now this is the only combo that I have together. I don't have any other sets of the Funtastic. I do have the green, the jungle green, but I don't have any of the blisters that coincide with that. It's only this set. One fun fact that I did want to share, that in Australia or Europe, they did actually have Funtastic series colors that came in boxes. So one of the items that I'm trying to hunt down is a watermelon red or watermelon pink, whichever you want to call it, in a box form. So essentially it would be just like a traditional Nintendo 64 controller box, but it would have the neon or the watermelon controller inside instead of any of these. I've seen ice blue on eBay, obviously the watermelon. I will post pictures of them so that way you guys can kind of see just what Europe got, Australia got, and I think they're really cool. They're PAL oriented or AEU, and I just think it's a cool variant compared to what we got. They never got the blisters, so I'm sure over there they wish they had the blisters, and we're over here wishing they had, or we had the box version. All right, you guys, very close quarters, how I have the desk and the light and the camera set up with the background, but I think we're going to be able to do it. I do want to start off with the blister first, so that way I can kind of get it out of the way, because it is very fragile. These things crack constantly. So I bought this on an eBay auction 5 or 6 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago. It's not in the best condition out there. Now, there's blisters out there for, sorry, this might be loud. Back to the baby wipes. There's blisters out there for $1,800, $2,000, $2,300, $3,000 for the watermelon. Now you can get the other Funtastic series for between $400, $300 to like $1,000 depending on the condition. Obviously the condition on these is what skyrockets the value, just like anything out there. So I bought this for $550 at an auction. I think all in is barely over $600, like after the shipping and taxes and fees and stuff like that. So Not bad for getting it for 600 bucks. However, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not in minty condition. However, to coincide and go with my Watermelon console, I think it's a pretty good price for what it is. So this guy does have a little dirt on it and grime. I haven't had the time to clean it up, so I'm going to do that while I talk to you guys about it, because I have to be doing something with my hands or else I feel like a weirdo. So I feel like cleaning this up would be a great opportunity to do so, and that way you guys don't think that my collection is just disgustingly dirty, even though it's getting pretty dusty right now as we speak. So you have your blister. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a blister. It's got the controller. I don't know how close it is to the camera. The backside, the unfortunate part is the blister on the backside is a little damaged. Some of the corners, you can just tell that it's been crunched. But overall, not bad. The main focus on this one was to have the front side in good condition, and I really do think that it is in good condition. Some of the corners, I don't know if you guys can see those right here and right here. Those are a little dented. Right around the joystick is a little dented, but that's pretty common just because those are the furthest out points of the blister. And what I mean by that is if you put it to the side, you can see down it, this is the furthest point out, which means if anything hits this, it hits this first. Then these corners, obviously just moving them around, flipping them upside down, packaging, those are going to be damaged right off the bat as well. So I have these baby wipes. Baby wipes are really nice. Even if you guys don't have kids, get some baby wipes. I use these for anything and everything. Cleaning the table, use them. Cleaning the bathroom, use them. Just really nice. So one thing you can see is right here, there's a little bit of that glue grime that you would see from a Kmart, a Walmart, a Toys R Us. That is where they would put the sticker price for it. It does have a little bit, but it doesn't have it on there, which is kind of nice. I prefer it that way. Now this is kind of where the condition falls apart a little bit. You can see on the end it's broken with some grime down there. That's why I have this guy. I'm going to start trying to get this all cleaned up while I'm talking to you guys. There's a little bit of grime in these lower corners. Not ideal, but I want to get it off anyways. Now, one thing you guys will know with blisters is they yellow constantly. It doesn't matter if it's a Pokemon blister, Nintendo 64 blister, even like Nintendo games, some very rare blisters had games in them with other things. So you would have like the game and manual, you would have a game and a Nintendo Power. I'll toss some pictures up so you guys can see them, but even those blisters, they were very notorious for yellowing. So, excuse me. I know it's probably gross, but it has to be done. I don't have any water in here with me, so it's for the good of the people. So one thing that I noticed with this guy is, yes, the corners are broken, like you can see it right there. There is some cracking. There's nothing on the face of it that is making this an open blister. It's only around the edges. This corner is actually in really great shape. This corner obviously is not the corner that I'm cleaning right now. This side must have been damaged by something. I mean, these are what, 30 years old? So the fact that they've survived this long being sealed is impressive. But when I started looking for blisters, I wasn't really in the market for them. I knew I just wanted something to go along with my Watermelon Nintendo 64 cartridge. And then I found this guy at a stupid price at an auction. So I just waited till the last minute. I tossed in, I think I was willing to pay like 800 bucks for it. So I tossed in my max the last minute and I ended up getting it. Actually, it's funny. I told myself I was only going to pay 700 bucks for it. And if it went over 700, I wasn't going to rebid. It was just like, okay, well, it's not meant to be. And so I tossed in my bid last second, my max bid. Then I got the notification like, oh, you won. So when you bid on eBay, like I'm sure some of you guys know, when you toss in your last bid, it takes a couple seconds or up to like a minute because everyone's throwing in their last bids. And so you're kind of in limbo if you win the auction or not. So sometimes if you lose, it's like, oh, sorry, you were outbidded, you lost this one. You know, oh, here's more items that are similar. Or if you win, it's like, oh, congratulations, now give us your money. So I was lucky enough that it said, congratulations, give us your money. And I paid it. So, and then I was also very happy to see that it was only 600 bucks instead of 700. So overall, very happy with this. I really like it. It's not in pristine shape, but I also can't afford one that's in perfect shape, to be quite frank with you guys. So it goes really well with my Watermelon console. So there's this guy right here. I will see on Console Variations, it's a website, and I noticed, or I mentioned it earlier. I'll put a link in the bio of this. You can look up individual stuff like this and see how many were produced, how many were made, and things like that. So it's pretty cool to have that information for you kind of at your fingertips. So now this guy was another auction find on eBay. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I will put a screenshot of that auction that I won. It sucks. I was actually bidding on this one, another, I want to say it was Ice Blue, and then the Donkey Kong edition one. And I got bid out on every single one of them except for this one. I don't have a ton of money, and so when I bid on these things, I literally just set myself a price, and if it goes over that, I lose it. If I don't, then I get an item. And so for stuff like this, I'll look up at like recent comps, recent sold. Price charting isn't very accurate with CIB stuff, or like that Blister. It's the Blister new sealed is like $200. I'll toss a comp up here, and on eBay you can't find one for, hell, this is probably the cheapest one you could ever buy for $600. So sometimes price charting is a little all over the place, but that's okay. I try to do my best comps before I start bidding, so that way I know if it's a good deal or not. And by setting a price, I do that so that way if I win the auction, I kind of get a good price and deal on what I'm wanting. And if I don't, then it kind of just went for market, and I'm trying to build a collection as cheap as possible, so I don't really want to buy things at market. I know it's tacky. I know I probably sound like a scalper, but that's just, listen, I don't have a ton of money to do this. So, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. So now, unfortunately, this box is not in pristine condition. I bought this for the contents that are inside. And when I show you guys that, you guys will understand why. So looking at the box, you guys might not be able to see my face. There is obvious wear and tear. So the box has some dents along here, which were very common on Nintendo 64 boxes. Wherever the box opened and closed at, where this pull tab is, there's constant bending and breaks in the cardboard, just because that's where every single kid opened and closed it. Same as the back right here, you can kind of see how some of the cardboard is flaring up. Every single edge has some wear on it. And then unfortunately, there's even some tape on these corners over here. One thing that I did hear recently was the Funtastics were never sealed. So maybe the tape on all the edges was the store sealing it, because there is a tag, a tiny little sticker tag right here. That's not Toys R Us. I want to say it's like KB Toys maybe, right here. So maybe they taped it themselves to prevent theft or to keep them sealed, so people didn't think they were, you know, used or whatever. But there's tape that goes from the top here to the bottom, and then tape that goes from the top here to the bottom. Whereas a sealed Nintendo 64, like I'll show you guys in another video, they have little circular tags or seals that go over each end to verify that it's sealed. Or PAL or AUU or AUE, excuse me, they have special seals that say Nintendo 64 on them. So I don't know where the seals start and stop, where they start and stop in in English versus PAL versus AUE, but all I know is I read that these weren't actually sealed. So, which isn't uncommon for Nintendo 64 items or other Nintendo items, because there's been times that like even Nintendo right now, some handhelds aren't even sealed with a sticker. They just, I guess they're just boxed up. I don't know. So now for the reason why I actually bought this thing. You can always do a box upgrade, but I feel like you just can't do a CIB upgrade. I'm sure you can, but condition upgrade, sorry. So these are the contents inside. So one thing that triggered me to wanting to purchase this is a lot of this. So obviously you have all of the manuals. This is obviously open. I don't believe this was ever sealed. It might have been sticker sealed or tape sealed, but well, it's not. So it was obviously open at one time. These are on awesome condition. Nothing's really bent or dinged up on them. There's some, maybe a tiny little stain. So maybe whoever I bought this from pieced this together, because I don't think this would be original with it. I do know, well, I don't know for sure. I've seen other consoles that these things would have that blue tape that would go on the controller. It would be right here as well. So I don't think this is original with it. Now for the console itself. So here you go. Cool thing about this is the plastic. Now there are companies that sell like aftermarket plastic that go over these. That's Repop or not Nintendo originally. This one is, so it's cool that it has the original on it. I will check this out. Now, one really cool thing about this guy is, I'll show you guys right now, little dirt and grime on it. Well, not really, just some dust. That label on the front is so minty. It's very, very nice, as well as the backside label is also very well intact, which kind of leads me to believe that this was really not played with a whole lot. So very happy with that. So I'm not claiming that this is brand new. It's never been used before. It might have been pieced together from the person I bought it from. All I know is the contents inside of them make it very CIB or CIB plus, whichever way you want to look at it. So now moving on to the thing that I noticed the most. So in the world of Nintendo and games, there's CIB and there's CIB plus. I don't like it. I wish it was all just complete in box, because that means it has all the manuals, paperwork, plastics. So, but I did learn that CIB does not mean that. It's CIB plus if it has all that. So I'm a stickler for CIB plus. So when I say it's CIB plus and I see these blue plastics and the tapes and stuff like that, that's what I'm going for in my collection. So this controller, I'm going to leave it in here. Everything coincides with a CIB plus controller. Maybe not so much the console or like this guy, but I do know that the controller itself is in awesome condition. Joystick is, I don't know, you guys really can't feel that obviously because you're not feeling it, but the joystick is so firm. Not firm in the sense that it's like glued in there, but very firm that it's sticky. You guys know what I'm talking about. A nice firm joystick is very nice to feel. So as weird as that sounds. Other than everything else, you have your power supply. I don't think this is the original one with it, because I do think, I don't know if this came with the special plastic or not. I'll have to look that up. I do want to say it did, but I've also seen consoles that say CIB plus without them. So I'm also thinking that this might be something that maybe Nintendo, like if they had all these baggies that have the Nintendo branding and the warning and this and this and that, maybe sometimes the cartridges or controllers or Nintendo 64 items or consoles that came with just the non-branding plastic, maybe those are wrapped that way because Nintendo ran out of these. Sounds very unlikely and very stupid, but I do know other items that would traditionally have certain inserts that don't, such as the Extreme Green versus the Atomic Purple controller. One has a white box insert and one has a brown box insert. And so I don't know why they just wouldn't stick with all brown or all white, but I do know that is a difference in some of the things, even though they came out of the same Nintendo 64 factory or Nintendo assembly line. So I just wanted to point that out. Lastly, there is a slot right here, because that slot is for a game. Now, these Funtastics never came with a game. That slot is for the games for Donkey Kong. You have 007. You have the Star Wars Racer. Those bundles that came with games, they would be wrapped in the plastic that would come in a CIB box, but the game would go right here. So that on these consoles is just kind of villainoid. It's just a space. It makes sense because Nintendo didn't want to make a whole new styrofoam insert and have to have a whole new assembly line and a whole new press or a whole new skeleton for the styrofoam for consoles that didn't have games. So every single one was just the same, and that's just the way it is. So I'm going to box this guy back up. You can see all the other Funtastics right here. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. You have the ice blue, you have the jungle green, you have the fire red, even though it's orange, you have the watermelon, you have the grape, and you have the smoke. So earlier when I was fumbling over that and sounding absolutely stupid, now you know what I'm talking about, which I'm sure you guys already knew ahead of time. So I'm going to get this guy back, boxed up. get it back in its case. All of my consoles have not acrylic, but whatever those cheap little plastic cases are. Especially consoles like this, where the box is already a little iffy. It should really be an acrylic case, but I just stick with these flimsy plastic cases just for the time being. What's funny is I order these on eBay because the guy I buy them from has really reasonable prices. It's crazy how different all these boxes are. So your Funtastic series box is a little bit different than your Donkey Kong box. That's a little bit different size versus your, obviously your Atomic Purple or your Atomic Purple combo. That's obviously a lot longer, so you need a different case for that. And then also your launch party Nintendo 64, that is a different size completely as well. So all these boxes are different sizes, so you obviously need to buy the appropriate case if you were to buy one of these. So this case might look scratched and dented and dinged. It is because it is. However, I keep all the cellophane or whatever the plastic film on it is just because it gives me an extra barrier to the case itself. I'm not taking these to shows, so I don't care if the corners look a little grubby or looks like it's peeling, which I'll show you guys up close to the camera. This is strictly for protection of my consoles. So I do it because I can. So I'll show you guys what I mean right now. So hey, the front side is not peeling at all. So like this backside corner, see that peeling up? I don't know if you guys can see that. You're supposed to just peel it all off to where the cartridge or the case itself is just showing, but it's gonna get scratches on it every time I move it, every time I take it out, whatever. So I'd rather just have that little film on it to absorb those scratches for as long as possible. Once it's all cut and dinged up, then, you know, I'll get rid of it at that point. But for the time being, it's just the way it is. So that's it. That's my Funtastic Watermelon collection so far. Like I said, I want to try to go after the boxed variant, that is PAL or AUE, and see if I can't complete that set even further. All right, you guys, that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Maybe it was boring. I don't know. I just want to show you guys more in depth of my collection because I show it off every single video. It's a backdrop, but I want to show you guys kind of what I collect and how I collect it and how nice or not so nice I prefer my items. The interior of this box, awesome. The exterior is subpar. This is just an awesome piece of nostalgia and history to have because these are very hard to come by. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe if you guys want to see more content of my collection, as well as watching me try to complete all 296 North American released Nintendo 64 cartridges.